Yeah, it's levels to it though.
Welcome back to the Lonely Fans.
Breakup depression. Like,
we are
right.
Jeremy, me, Shane to my left, Nick to my other left,
Still the left.
far left. We are in the final matrix together, and we're gonna be talking about depression, and how it affects us, and how it affects you, and how we can deal with it. And let's take it lightly, because depression is a dark place that nobody needs to fall into, and we can all call on our friends. And if you don't have any friends, you can call on the Lonely Fans. And if you can't call on us, you can call on the number that will be available to you at the end of this video, because it's not a joke, people. We will be making jokes because that's how we deal with things sometimes. But we're going to talk about it. We're just going to shoot right in and like figure out how we talk about depression. I'm going to shoot right over to Nick, because he was telling an interesting story right before we began about a breakup that he was going through and what happened with it and all that stuff. So I would love to hear it.
Well, not currently a breakup. I'm very
some time
happy
ago.
in my relationship.
Yes.
No,
Yeah.
We were saying how there's different levels of like depression, and one of them is like, the breakup depression. And I was talking with somebody about technology this weekend, and I remember during my first breakup, the only reason I remember this breakup so vividly is because of the piece of technology that was involved with it. It was, I believe it was called, it was early 2000s, and I believe it was called the Clip It. And it is, and we'll get a picture of it so you see, it is like a cartridge. It is a cartridge that has a song on it, and it only has the memory of about 30 seconds. So you play essentially 30 seconds of the same song over and over again. And then and they had them at McDonald's. And there was two. I had a Backstreet Boys one and I had a Britney Spears one. And the Britney Spears one was called, it was the song Lucky, I believe it is. And it went like this. It was like, she's so lucky, she's a star, but she cries in her lonely heart thinking, if there's something missing in this, then why do these tears come in? But it was only, so that was the whole clip. So it would just go essentially over and over and over again. And so as
you just kept listening to it over and over
I had
again.
that, and then I had the Backstreet Boys one, which was like larger than life. So it's like, now that we're larger than life. So it was like this happy, like boom. But I had just broken up, or I had been broken up with. I had been dumped. I'm man enough to admit when I have been dumped. I was 14. It was a tough time.
14.
So it was. I had that little sound clip, and we were driving somewhere on a trip, and I sat in the back of the car in the dark, laying down, listening to the Brit. Oh, and they only came with one headphone. So there was no way to have two. So you can only ever have one plugged in on your little sound clip. And so I just laid there in the car, listening, like, why do these tears come in?
Just laying down.
I ran that fucking battery out. I ran that little fucking C-Mod with a battery. I ran that shit out. But so like one of the ways we were saying, like, how do you deal with depression? I think hugely for me, music. And what I find, like, even when I am depressed, and I forget this, is I don't listen. When I'm really in depression, I don't listen to music sometimes because I don't want to do any of the things that make me feel good.
Right. Yep.
And that's one of the ways depression will get you too. But for me, when I do finally start listening to music, I listen back to the stuff that reminds me of who I was and like to get through it. And but I found during like that type of depression, like breakups, there's always kind of like music.
Yeah, that's an interesting point because I agree. Like when I'm fully depressed, I don't want to hear music. And then when there's music that starts making me feel better, I get kind of angry about it. And I don't want to listen to that music. I don't want to feel better. I want to be sad right now.
Right.
And that's a weird like thing to like hold on to, right? Like
no, that's how depression works though. It's that negative feedback loop where you want to do things that make you feel worse.
Yeah.
So like music is a good one that you could use for whatever reason, when I'm depressed, I listen to depressing music. Like I listen to music that actually make me feel worse.
Like relatable?
Yeah.
You want it to make
It
you
can be
feel worse.
relatable.
It's a
or it
wavelength
could
or
be,
whatever
yeah,
that
like, it just syncs up with how I'm
yep.
feeling. So,
Like a breakup song. Like a breakup song.
A breakup song.
Yeah.
Going
No,
through a
yeah.
breakup, which is probably the last thing you want to listen to. But
Yeah, over and over again on repeat.
30 seconds.
I've done it.
especially,
Oh
that's
my
nuts.
goodness, I've done that. I've done that sad song over and over and
Right.
over while I just sat there.
We're driving through the country, so there's not
Looking-
a lot of lights, so you can see all the stars.
Looking out that window. Holding that one ear.
This giant 14-year-old boy just crying his eyes out over a breakup. That was your first experience then, or?
I mean, that was like my first breakup, yeah. And then, there's different, like I have an entirely different depression right now. I'm going through, but I also just said that same breakup reminded me of how the different musics helped me. That she was also in the sports team, and they all worked out at the same time as us on the football team. So there was also like this song that came out like Mudvayne, it's like super like, are you feeling happy? And it was like that kind of stuff. And so like, are you fucking happy? And so I would lift weights and I'd see her in the corner of the gym. And I'd be like, are you fucking happy? And it helped. But it helped. But it helped. And I would like breathe real hard while I'm staring at her. Okay, let's go. Oh, I gotta wait for the song to start. Wait. Are you feeling happy? That's how it was. But that was
physical activity is another.
Yeah, that is a way you are supposed to.
I mean,
But then you're drawn away from it.
who wants to work out when you feel like
Okay,
shit?
so
Exactly.
yes,
I don't
these
wanna
are
work out
these are the ways you
when I feel
can
good
you can
about
handle it. But when you're in it, it's very hard.
That first push.
It's very hard to like get out of the bed.
Because you need an inner.
to open the
It needs to
blinds.
come from here.
It's very hard to like just even stand up.
right.
That is the I think the struggle of a lot of and people. I think a lot of people do stand up and they go about their day, and they just are dwelling in that sad, hard place.
Mm-hmm.
And so those are things that we can do. Yeah, we can work out. We can be
Stay in
fun. What's that? I was talking to you guys. We can work out. We can do that stuff. But
stay in the
oh, sorry. Oh, I thought you said say it to the camera.
Yeah, that too, but no, just stay in. Sorry.
My friend Shane here has guided me to talk directly to you. So now I must address you people. No, dude. No, what do we do? Like how do you get from that? Like, I just want to roll around and like wallow and like be
Pity
in that
party.
dark. Yeah. And that no, pity party is like a weird kind of like making fun of it. So let's remove that and say like, you're really down. You're really like, you don't want the world to touch you. You don't want anybody to see you. You want to be alone. You don't want, you are like, your value has completely diminished in your mind.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got to make yourself get up. You got to make yourself open the blinds. You got to make yourself go out for a walk. Well, that's hard. That's really hard.
It's very simple things. It's very little things. It's a series of little things you do that add up to making you feel better. But just doing the first one is the hardest one. And I wanted to say like the depression, like that's like breakup depression is totally different from I think like we're all feeling a very different kind of depression right now.
Yeah.
Which
is natural.
And
This
like
is where
for
we
instance, I got a job this weekend possibly. And it was for more money than I've ever made thus far. It's pretty good money. It's a good gig, good hours, all that stuff. And my wife, when she heard it, she's not my wife yet, but we'll see, baby.
You better marry that man.
She heard the message from the person at the job, and she started crying because it was such a good thing. And I've been so like I go to work and like haunted.
Wait. So she was crying like tears of joy. She was crying tears of joy
because it meant our lives could like change and like that. And I felt nothing. And like we were down there visiting down in South Florida. I got us a hotel on the beach. There was moments where like after I got back from that interview and they're like, I know they want me. Like, this is good. We walked down to the beach and I have my daughter in the water. I'm trying, it did feel beautiful. I'm outside of me. I can look and see how beautiful this moment is with my family.
Because it's been so long.
And it's so long without like feeling good.
You've had to remove yourself from feelings for so long that the numbness took in.
It's the exact word. It is a numbness.
Yeah. And then like, it's hard to believe that something good is happening. And it's hard to like actually meet your heart. Trust me, I am the guy that doesn't understand when good things happen. Trust me, I am the person. And so like, is that what you mean? Like
it was exactly. Yeah.
Can you feel the tingles? Can you feel any of it?
I don't think
that are.
That's that part looking in. Like I know it'll happen because I haven't signed the paperwork. None of that's real yet.
When I say the tingles, like when your foot falls
like the anticipation, or or the numbness of I don't feel anything.
Well, no, I'm talking about like when your foot falls asleep. Like for me, I sit on the toilet too long, my left leg falls asleep.
It happens very quickly for me.
Yeah, and then when I go to stand up, I have to like stomp out the tingles. Just to because they bother me. Mm-hmm. So I'm wondering if do you have any of those tingles in your emotional heart or whatever you are?
I think I'm going to go back to that.
Okay.
Only because I want to reference my feet falling asleep when I'm taking a poop.
Okay, that's good.
Because
as long as we can reference the fact that you have to take a shower as soon as you're done.
You don't feel clean. I'm not the one that does this. So if I go through this, so now as I get older, I'm as a small portion of people. As I get older, I'm not the only one. There are tens of us. There are tens of us. Dozens of us. As I get older, I realize my muscles in my legs aren't as good as they used to be and stuff. And so when I'm taking a poop, both my legs fall asleep because I got long legs and I'm leaning forward on them. They fall asleep, and so I go through this mini scare when I get up, and I'm standing up and both my legs are asleep, and I'm worried that they're like stilts and they're gonna like pop out at a weird angle and I won't know. And so but I'm like
your bones are just gonna betray you.
Yeah, so I can't feel them, and so I'm worried because there's so much toppling around. I don't want to fall off.
I love the idea that your body's just gonna say screw it.
But I have no control, so it's done here. I don't know if I'm standing fully on my feet or not, or if I'm standing on my ankle. Like I don't know.
It's a tricky feeling.
But to go back to the feeling of love and emotion. So there are, I don't know if by the tingle you mean like it's a good feeling, but it was like as I was sitting there in the water, like both of them are holding onto me in the water. And like I'm just sitting there looking at how happy my daughter is while she's splashing, how happy my wife is, my future wife is here. She's too short to touch the bottom, so she's like holding on to me, and I'm literally holding on my family in the sun, beautiful crystal clear water. And I almost, like, it's so shitty to say, but it almost feels like I didn't feel anything. Mm-hmm. But I could notice the moment and how special, I could see how important this moment was to have as like a photo stamp it like in my memory forever. But I was still so like, I don't know, it was overwhelmed or just like numb, like numbed by the overwhelming. And it's a feeling that I've been trying to, it's only happened 2 days ago. And I have been trying to like process, and that's how I know I'm in a depression. Right. Like that's how, that was the for sure, because I forgot who said it to me first. It's like, I said that to someone, and like, oh, you're depressed. And I was like, and I do have depression bouts, but like, I hadn't realized it was so bad that it could like rob me of this like beautiful moment. Or like even feeling that, like, hey, I'm about to make more money than I ever made. My family's going to be okay. And that, I guess it's not real yet. It doesn't feel real. But that feeling of like, I don't know how to be excited about it. I don't know what, it's just I'm just kind of feel like I'm on track.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I got you. I got you on this one. So when I was still married, and my daughter every morning would, well, only on Saturdays and Sundays because I was there, but every morning she would come in and jump on me, like just jump right on my stomach, and I'd be like, oh, stop, like, ugh. But that was my depression. That was all the stuff that was going through me. That was just like, I can't have this right now. I just want to wake up. Don't do this. But now, after the fact, after time has passed, now more than anything, I appreciate that. So it does come to you. And so as long as you remember it, as long as you like experienced it, maybe you weren't there in your heart at the moment, your heart will catch up. And I think that's a part of my depression too. Is like, I just don't believe that my heart will catch up. I start thinking, woe is me. This is sucky. I don't belong here. I want to be done. I want to be out of this picture. Nobody loves me. And then my brother threw this well, never mind. I won't throw it in there. But my brother did give me a great pain analogy that if, don't.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. My brother, last night, Shane was sitting there while I was being a stupid idiot. And my brother was on the phone talking to me. And he was saying, like, when I do these things that are like really depressed and like I don't have any value, it's like I took a paint can and I dropped it on the ground in front of everybody. And like when he was asking me, who did that paint get on? I'm going, like me, the floor, whatever. And he was like, no, dude, it gets on everybody else. Everybody who's standing there, who loves you, who wants you to be there, who wants a part of your life, you're splashing that paint on them. And so for me, that's where I'm kind of coming into the stories where like I like to the people at home, don't splash that paint. Just talk to the people who are right there. Don't drop the bucket. Just talk to them. And you're not going to like what they're going to tell you sometimes, because they're going to tell you you have value. They're going to tell you that you are a good thing. They're going to tell you that people want you. You don't want to hear that. You know that people don't want you. You know that people don't care about you. You know, I don't have any value whatsoever. But you do, because there's people right there telling you do. And I'm sorry if you don't have like the family I have that are widespread. They're not right here in front of me. I got these two guys. They're kind of my family. And Shane knows all the heck that I will call him and say, hey, man, I need you to show up. But you gotta talk to somebody. Don't splash the paint. Don't do that. Don't throw it on the ground. Like, talk to somebody.
Yeah. Your brother made another great point as well, where it happens, right? We're human. We make mistakes. You drop a paint bucket, whether intentional or accidentally. But to acknowledge that the paint is on people and set up a game plan. Okay, so what do I need to do to make this right?
Yeah.
Who am I affecting? What can I do? What steps can I take?
Yeah.
To help myself and to help these
Ownership.
people that are hurt? Ownership. So
yeah.
It was a great analogy. Shout out to your brother.
Yeah. My brother is so much cooler than me. He is a lot cooler.
I'm not going to disagree.
Yeah, I know. He heard my brother. He was like, that guy is the coolest guy ever. With the softest voice. He's very loving and good.
Angelic, yeah.
Yeah. Very, yeah. Angelic is right. Beautiful voice.
But no, depression is real. I think and this might just be me hoping, I think everybody goes through doses of it. Bits and pieces. We all react to it differently, obviously. But we got the music, right? Physical activity. What are some things that we should be doing?
So I could tell you my list from like my therapist.
Yeah. Let's hear it.
I do therapy. And what sucks when you're in a depression or like when you do therapy too is they don't really give you answers in therapy. It's kind of like you talk and you realize things about yourself and they help you realize.
Because the answers are already
right. You have them. And that's the most...
like ask yourself
that's almost like almost like the frustrating thing about this is I've been seeing my therapist for years. And when it comes to depression, I know the things you're supposed to do. Mm-hmm. I know the things that work for me. I love bike riding. I love listening to music. I love taking a walk with my daughter. I love... I don't know if I said bike riding already, but like working out, that really feeling of working out and like pumping something, like even when you're lifting weights, that is all those feelings I know and I love. And journaling, I'm supposed to journal. You even write what you're grateful for. I bought a new journal this week, and this one's really focused on like inner thoughts, like focusing on yourself. And I bought this knowing, like, cause I buy a journal every year. And sometimes I had a journal. The last one was like to the minute. Like for my ADD, it was like an hour to the hour kind of journal. And there are times when I'm really in it and it's so detailed. And then you can just, if I took the journal and I showed it to you, you would see when I fall off.
I was depressed.
You would see when I fall off. And then the journal then becomes this reminder of the things that you failed at. So then you don't want to. So knowing that you have to feel better, you've got a journal.
Yeah.
But just looking at this thing and knowing you already fucked it up once and again, or 3, 5 times, whatever, it doesn't go back. So every year I gotta throw it out, and I bought a new one. This one's not to the hour, so it's not as the expectations aren't as high. But I've had it for 2 weeks. I wrote in it once, and it's not because I can't find the time. Because I can find 10 minutes in my day to sit there and focus on it.
Write your dreams in the morning.
It is that. The thing that depression does is like all those things I listed.
Like you said, how do you open
all
the
those
blinds?
things I listed?
Open the blinds.
All those things I listed.
I know.
Help.
I know.
They're proven to help with depression. Talking to people, going out and just forcing yourself to get out. Sometimes I would do that. If my wife wants to go somewhere, I know I don't want to go there. But then I'm like, you know what? I need to force myself to just do it so that I'm in a different place and maybe my mind can get a reset.
Does it turn out you enjoy it when you go?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm still being, grumpy bitch. Yeah. But I try, but that's just me. That's the me fighting it.
Yeah.
The thing about depression is it holds you. It's like of all the feelings and emotions you have, it's the one that like doesn't want to ever let go of you.
Right.
Like it wants to hold you and build itself up and get stronger.
It feeds off
of more. And so it tricks your mind into thinking that you want more of the stuff that's not making you feel good. It's just making you sleep more or eat more for the comforts and the and none of it. But it's really just that motivational first step. And if you're on your own and you don't have anyone to even give you that, that is when I imagine it's the most hardest. And that's hard. If I have nobody to talk to, and it's like, who's going to talk to me? Nobody then, because then you just sit in that, and that beast gets bigger and bigger, and who knows what destructive tendencies that leads you to. Mm-hmm. And that is what depression does. It is a monster. And get back on screen.
Sorry, I just got caught up in what you're saying.
But it is.
I was listening.
But like depression is, and that's why, and we don't talk about it. We all know it. We're all experiencing it, and like it's hard to even. It gets in the way of me wanting to like come and talk and have fun with you guys because I'm like, I just don't feel like I have the energy. Mm-hmm. I don't feel like I have but that's not really me. That is the monster inside that wants to just be sad shit. Mm-hmm. And then once you start realizing that, and I think another thing about depression is the secular nature of it, is the more you become aware of it.
Well,
and
spiraling nature.
Yeah. And you can get better at catching it before it gets, to the event horizon or whatever. You can get better at catching it, and you literally have to force yourself. And once you do, that's where the discipline comes in. So it's like motivation. You motivate yourself to take the first step, and then motivation doesn't last forever. I think I hit the table, but motivation doesn't last forever. So then is when you have to instill the discipline to go every day. And then it becomes that second nature, whether it's working out or whatever. Right. And then that's when you start to really feel the change. But it's everything to get to that is the part that people with depression just can't. That's that hill, that mountain you can't.
I think I can picture it in my head as like kind of, let's say you've fallen down and then this like muddy kind of swampy stuff covers you and it's impossible to stand up. Mm-hmm. And you can't stand up. But as soon as you do,
you feel lighter.
All that stuff falls off of you. So sometimes you got to stand up, and sometimes people aren't going to be there. Nobody is like, I'm very grateful for my brother, for Shane, for Nick, for people who have been there for me. But sometimes in my past, I've had to like just stand up, and it sucks a lot.
That shit on you.
Sucks. Yeah.
Shit mud on you.
And, and then it's cold, like you're not covered in that warm mud anymore. And then you got to like take a couple steps forward and get a cup of water. All of a sudden you're thirsty all over again. Like your body is starting to like fire off and tell you things. So, you know what? Sometimes you got to just stand up, and it can be all right.
It will be all right.
That's a cool metaphor. That's that feeling of like, because it's that heaviness, and it's even heavier until you break until the surface tension breaks it. And
and then it just kind of like the bigger part of it. You're still kind of dirty. You're still covered in the shit.
But
the heavy weight.
Now you have your arms free to help. You can start wiggling your legs.
You can like kind of start crawling to the shore, and then you can get to that shower, and you can like start washing some stuff off, and then people, like whether or not that they're there, and you can actually like find some kind of peace. And that doesn't mean happiness. I just mean like you can find like that next, like that starting point. Mm-hmm. Because let's be honest, like depression is not a starting point. It's like it's way back there. And so you got to get to the starting point. And that isn't easy by any stretch of the imagination. And starting from there is not easy by any stretch of the imagination, but you can get to at least the starting point. So you can try. And so that's... And
then maybe you fall back. But then
it's all right.
But then that's where you start trying again. Yeah. And then you push a little bit further.
Yeah.
And then the depression might get a little shorter this time. There is no quick fix. Yeah. That's one of I think the hardest thing in this instant world we have. Everything we can get a fix. Even depression pills, I take those too. They are not an instant fix. But
no,
like
I take them as well.
There is no instant fix for it. It is a thing that requires work, and it is a thing that requires time, and it's when everything's happening so fast. It's just, but that's also the depression. That's the depression telling you. Look at you see how like it's like it takes so much work. Yeah. It takes so much time. Like, I'm always telling myself not to do it. Like that's what it does.
Yeah.
That's
real,
quicksand.
folks.
That's just quicksand, man.
That's real.
No, I think that's big though. Acknowledging that it's not easy, so you don't set yourself up for failure, and you might slip up again, but you got to know that and be ready to keep trying. Really, I mean.
Oh yeah, listen. Just from my own personal example, is that like last year I wouldn't have called you. You know what I mean? And this year I am calling you.
Reaching out.
Yeah. Like even if you can't or whatever it is, but I'm still doing it. I'm still like going, I can't be in this place by myself. I can't do it. If I do this, it's going to end badly. Because when you start like hating yourself, like literally like saying out loud, you're a piece of shit to yourself, you know, like, I hate you. Why don't I, everybody be better off without you? No, dude. No, they won't. Nobody will be better off without you. Nobody will be better off without you. Ever. You will always be appreciated. Even if you don't see it, even if there's nobody in your life that you know, there's a person that you run into every day and they're going to miss you because you didn't come into the store that day or whatever it is. You are real. You know, I'm sorry, I got real serious. There's a bridge in Thailand that they named after Chuck Norris, but they had to change the name of the bridge because nobody crosses Chuck Norris. Sorry, I tried to make it light.
No, but you didn't need to. I mean,
I tried to make it.
It was the paint. All that was, it was the paint. That's all I see now is like the paint. That's the splash in the paint. That's all it is. So it is a good fucking metaphor because that's all
You're just splashing the paint all over it. Yeah.
So sex robots.
No.
It's something more important. It's something we had.
More importantly,
it's something we had on the docket.
This is something that we think may or may not cure depression forever. And Shane has told us that it would be sex robots. Is that correct?
As opposed to other things. I think that's the phrasing that I might use. Where
it's not. I threw him under the bus. Totally threw him under the bus.
Nick was mentioning that he thinks that, and I agree. We're probably close to that point somewhere right now, just based on technology.
It was along the line. Somebody had asked me a question of what. When do you see like fully integrated like robots in society, like walking down the street with us, mingling or something like that? And then the answer was like, when you can have sex with them, when you can have a full, when a lonely person can replace companionship fully with an automated robot, which is not far behind. That's when you're at
not even a little bit far behind.
And we're not
literally 2 years ago.
Like
so.
Yeah, no, I watched people have full convos.
I did not know what you were about to say.
I thought you were talking about the different technologies you've watched for sex robots.
Yeah. Okay, sorry.
I gotta remember
Sorry.
Yeah. No, but I've seen people.
And I was thinking of weird contraptions like let him talk. Like the pocket light or whatever the hell it's called, hooked up to like a robotic arm. Yeah, the flashlight to a robotic arm and like VR goggles. Sorry,
stop.
What were you saying? Full apparatus. Huh?
What were you saying?
Yeah, I was going elsewhere.
Let's hear that.
No, I was just thinking about people having like full intimate conversations with ChatGPT.
Yeah.
A back and forth full convo.
There's a lot of apps now where you can like they're just emotional convo, but AI. There's a bunch of them.
Yeah. So the only piece that's missing is that physical part. But to your point, with the fleshlight and the arm and the goggles, add ChatGPT,
a haptic suit and. No, they've literally got like full-on robots.
We had addressed
that are sex dolls.
I believe that.
I always remember when I was a kid, HBO had a show called Real Sex, and I would wait until my mom fell asleep so I could watch it.
I remember that show.
And they would interview, and I always remember they talked about.
Did you see the orgy or the nudist colony episode?
I was a kid. I've seen all of them.
I was a kid too.
I've seen all of them.
But the one that I remember is, but that is where I was introduced. That's where I was introduced to like the real dolls.
Forever.
They had a whole episode on real dolls, which they're still out, but they're like way more advanced than they were then.
Right.
But it's a $10,000 doll, like full, like likely replaceable, like anatomy parts, and so like people would buy them for sexual stuff. But then also there were people that would buy them and live with them
For
and dress them
companionship,
and bring them out and shit,
Yep.
like in public. And because they were so lonely and that was their, and these couldn't talk back yet. And we were already there. Like,
and those people that brought them out when they went out, they were kind of happy.
They were very happy.
Yeah,
they had their sexy
they were
kind of
happy. According to the episode, they were kind of happy people that just
never saw
I don't care.
No
yeah.
arguments or fights.
Oh, well, I mean, yes, I bet they did actually have arguments. Weirdly, I mean, if I had to guess,
right,
that somebody who had that would be
they
like,
probably
that was 20 years ago.
You're not happy with this?
That was 25 years ago.
Michelle.
That's 25 years ago.
So
now imagine
now.
what they can do
Yes,
now.
that's why I said 2 years ago.
Yeah.
We know for a fact that there was like moving animatronic women bots.
And that brought us to the
And
point,
it's
though.
always women bots. It's weird, right?
I think men are just the ones that, I mean, I've seen.
Well, men are a little bit easier. You don't need a man bot. you can just yeah. Hello, I need penis in me, or whatever it is.
The reason we had said that.
Look, that's what I'm saying is that don't.
No,
I didn't mean I need it in
No,
me. I was saying
wait,
like that it's easy.
Sex
Yes.
is what I wanted to say.
Depression.
That's it.
Yeah. So
No. It was what we were going to say is sex is the driver of technology. That was the whole reason we had brought
that
this.
was it.
I thought it was the
have,
resolution to depression.
No,
both. Actually.
if you can get, so it says so. The drivers of technology, like, so when I say like fully robots integrated in society is when we're fully having sex with them, like, and it's normalized. You got the brothel or whatever the
robothel.
and then we were thinking about like all the technology
brothel.
that has like come out and failed because they didn't embrace sex or porn.
Right.
And so like the big one was like
Betamax and VHS and then
Blu-ray and HD. I
HD,
bought so many HD DVDs that I can never
HD DVD.
It was supposed to be the thing, but they didn't do porn.
I'm pretty sure
Blu-ray
that's
did,
exactly how it
and then
sounded.
now Blu-ray is what we have.
DVDs didn't do porn. Is that what you're
No. So there was DVDs came out, and then there was so the new format would be HD DVDs.
Okay,
right.
So they were
because it had more storage space on it, but then the
you
Blu-ray
needed a special player, just like a Blu-ray.
Yeah.
So it was two different formats that were coming out at the same time, like PlayStation and Xbox. The Xbox embraced HD. Because I bought an Xbox and I got the HD adapter for it.
Yeah, but PlayStation did.
And PlayStation
the Blu-ray.
and it was cheaper than a Blu-ray machine.
Yes,
and Blu-ray
it was.
embraced porn.
That's right.
So now you have teenagers with Playstations and
PlayStation.
porn in
Shout
high
out to
definition. PlayStation. That's how they won the console wars.
Yeah, it is. Because they knew what was up. They know their market. We're talking to you, Marvel.
Are we saying Marvel porn?
No, Marvel doesn't know their market, so they keep failing in all of their endeavors. So I was just like throwing that. That was a little like right hook out of nowhere.
Superhero is very much already a category.
Yeah, no, I saw a weird Batman porn once.
Oh, no, I know what you're talking about. It was 1960s one, right?
No,
but it was based on the 1960s Batman.
It was based,
but with modern
Joker.
It is one of the best. Hold on,
Joker in the cell with Catwoman.
Yes,
no, my ex-wife is the one who got it.
That Batgirl.
I hated it. It was so weird.
But that Batgirl is one of the. Okay, I'm not gonna get weird, but that came out in a time in porn when like the parodies were really, really big.
Yeah.
Like bigger than they were before.
Big production.
And also big budget.
Yeah.
So there was
big production.
Do you remember Pirates?
They had full costumes.
Did you hear about Pirates?
Pirates of the Caribbean.
So Pirates of the Caribbean came out, right? But then they made a porno. It was called, I don't think there was more than just Pirates, but it was the biggest budget porno ever made. Like it had a budget of millions of dollars. You could get the edit that had no porn.
I kind of remember the image of it. Yeah.
You could get the edit that way, but it was like 15 minutes long without the porn.
Right.
But you could still but it had it had
a
CGI.
whole,
But that's when the Batman one came out around that time
exactly
too. And they had
like
the full outfits from the 60s, and it was
full
it
costumes.
was wild. But as a 20-year-old boy with access to the internet.
Seeing Joker put his penis through a jail cell was the worst thing I have ever seen. I can't undo that memory. It was terrible.
That's why Superman's your favorite hero now.
No,
I've never seen a Superman porn. Thank you.
Yeah,
Jeez. Superman,
but no.
Superman sex thing. And then
what?
Superman, okay, the theory about the tissue paper. The tissue paper thing, you've heard this, right? It was I think Kevin Smith, it came up in one of these things. It was in Clerks maybe. But they had if Superman were to have sex with Lois Lane, when he would ejaculate, it
It
would
would
essentially
burst
shoot through her body.
Yeah.
And kill her. Instantly.
Yeah, there was a whole DC comic about that, actually.
They actually did a comic.
Yeah. Well, except it didn't shoot through her, but when the baby kicked, it killed her.
Oh,
and so Clark left Earth. There was a whole, like, he left Earth, went to live on an alien civilization, and became like a king there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that was a whole DC issue where what if Lois got pregnant with Superman's baby, and like the baby kicks and she dies on the spot. And he hears it. He's like, oh, and he goes to her and it's over. And so this is way before Injustice. This is
crazy,
way before all that stuff.
Because that's what sets him off in Injustice.
Yeah. Well, that's where they're stealing.
That's where they got it from. Yeah. And I thought that was an original thing. Like Joker caused him to trigger.
No, that came from a weird, like Elseworlds kind of story. I can't remember the name of the comic. We're talking about in the 90s. So how are you guys feeling? How's your throats right now? Should we rehydrate? I think we're if we're talking about time. I'm sorry, that's a weird way to phrase. Let's take a break for water and drinks. How's your throat feeling? My throat feels parched. I would like to get something in my throat to make it less parched. I'm talking about liquids. We'll be right back. How's your throat?
Yeah.
Who says that? Who says that? How's your throat? That was my segue. How's your throat?
How's your throat? I felt disrespected for a second. After
Are my pockets out?
right?